Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jaden Farquhar, independent science fiction author, and today I'm going to talk about finding ways to be creative, finding time for your creative hobbies during a 9 to 5 job, or anything similar like that, honestly. Because like the funny thing was when I finished college back in May, I thought that when I started a 9 to 5 job, I would have more time for writing, more time to read books, and to do all the creative activities I wanted to do. And I had good reason to think that. I was taking all these classes, I was working 2 part-time jobs. I thought 9 to 5, I'm gonna have a more regular schedule, but I couldn't be more wrong. It's actually been a bit of a challenge, and I'm sure those of you who are also working 9 to 5 jobs can relate because I figured, oh, I'll have all this time in the evenings and on the weekends to just do whatever I want. But it's not really that simple. Um, yeah, you have the fact that after working for 8 hours straight, you're exhausted. And you also want to maintain a social life. And I didn't realize how much I took for granted all these moments during the day in college when maybe in between classes or something like that, I had time to pull out my laptop and, get a few words in or read a book. I had time. I could get up later in the morning, maybe 8 or 9 a.m., maybe, like 9:30 or whatever, because I had a late class that day. I could spend extra time reading a book in the morning. I can't do that these days. So it's all these things you take for granted, you know, and it's like working 9 to 5, you got only a few hours in the evening after the day. You want to take care of some errands or you got to take care of some chores. And then you got to go out there and do it again the next day. And then on the weekend, you want to hang out with friends or you want to catch up with, somebody, you want to call people. So anyway, yeah, it's busier than I thought. But here's what I've been able to do. Basically, I do not take my time for granted anymore. And I already kind of did that in college, but even less so now. You have to be able to sit down for maybe 20 or 30 minutes rather than an hour, right? And you have to get moving because it can take time to get into a flow state. It can take time to work. But I've found that when I get off of work and I feel exhausted from working all day, maybe I had a long day, it was tough. All you want, there's this feeling I never knew before of just wanting to, I just want to do something easy and simple. I want to play some video games. I want to, just relax. The last thing I want to do, frankly, sometimes I just want to sleep. But basically, pull out whatever can help, whether it's like, making some hot tea or going out like in nature, like in the woods. That can help rejuvenate my spirit, liven my spirit, help me focus. And then I just get going. And I try to just put in a little bit of time each day, whether it's just 20 or 30 minutes. Because, yeah, that is already something that I discovered long before now, is consistency over time. For those of you who are still in school or college or anything flexible like that, or if you're working part-time, I highly suggest, if you're looking to do creative projects, now is a great time to tap in. Because when you start a 9 to 5 job, it's not that it can't be done, but my output is just lower than it used to be. And that's fine. That's kind of objectively what it has to be because, you have to you have to have dinner, you have to get to bed at a regular time so you're not exhausted the next day. Like, I'm not trying to sacrifice sleep for my creative goals. I'm fine stretching it out to a longer time span. Let me get into another tangent real quick because I could honestly make a whole video about how I got so much done in college. Those of you know that I wrote Rocky Frontier, the 300-page sci-fi novel. I wrote Deadlock, 350 pages. That one I just dropped a couple months ago. And I got more works that are unreleased at the moment. And the way I got so much stuff done, I'm not a particularly fast writer. I'm actually pretty slow, especially compared to my peers. When I started taking creative writing classes in college, basically, most of the serious writers were faster than me. but that's fine because I'm like the king of consistency. That's just what I do. I yeah, I basically I will write every single day. Or if I miss a day, that's fine, but at least every single week I will write a couple times a week. And I was doing this in college. I would in between classes, I would write. You have a lot of people, you know, obviously you have a lot of people in college who are just there to party, but you also have people on the other end of that spectrum who are just there to study. And the way they do things, their mindset, I had to change my mindset. Their mindset and what kind of like your parents and relatives and people tell you is, oh, you got to do your studying and homework first and then do your hobbies. And it's like, no, I do my hobbies first. And then if I find time to do my homework, then I'll do the homework. And that actually served me very well because I would have these moments in the middle of the day. Like I always have my laptop on me, and if I have like an extra hour, especially if let's say like a class got canceled or something unexpected, whatever, like I'm gone. I'm to the library. I'm going to start working. I'm just going to start writing some words. And that's what you got to do. You got to use those moments in the middle of the day because if you get the creative work done first and you get into kind of a flow state, you'll feel much better versus if you put it off and procrastinate, then you're going to want to do it less and less. And that's what I did throughout college. I would just write in the middle of the day. I would write, I don't care if it's like at 11 p.m. and I was doing something else and I just have my laptop on me. I pull it out. I'm at the library. It's like 11 p.m. Everybody else who's there is studying. I would be very flexible about it. And in terms of when you're working 9 to 5, you gotta just avoid that easy temptation to pull out some content and just watch it or play some video games. Definitely the cardinal sin here, I would say, is YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. Those are just so bad for your creativity for anything because the way it works, what I've definitely noticed, is just the opposite. Where if you sit down to watch, TikTok or Reels or whatever, the time goes by fast. And at first you feel really good. You're like, oh, this is great. And then you feel very sluggish afterward. And that's just going to kill your creativity. Creative work is the opposite way, where you might, similar to exercise, at first you feel kind of sluggish actually. And you're like, oh, I'm struggling to get going. I'd rather do something else right now. Give it 15 or 20 minutes, get into a flow state. And then you just feel energized. You feel rejuvenated and you're like, I'm getting so much done. This is awesome, and you do have to kill your expectations. Back in college, I could really get on a roll. It's been like 4 or 5 hours and get, like 10, 15, 20 pages done. Which for me, that's insane. I know some of these other writers would be out here like, yeah, I write that every day, no sweat. Well, I didn't ask you, man. For me, that's insane. Everybody has their own pace. But during a 9 to 5 job, except during holidays, and I take full advantage of holidays and vacation time and other stuff when I can. I write a little bit and then I go enjoy my holiday. I give a couple hours out of the day and then I enjoy everything else. But during a regular day, you're not going to have hours and hours. You're going to have 20 or 30 minutes. So you just got to lock in, get it done. And if you do, you're going to feel energized and rejuvenated after. You're going to have an easier time going to, go cook or go do something, I don't know, whatever errand or chore you're doing. You're going to feel better about doing it because you're like, hey, I accomplished something today. I achieved something today. So that's really the secret, honestly. You got to do that, and you got to kill expectations. You have to not expect yourself to put out that much work if you only have 20 or 30 minutes a day. I can't be out here. If I only get a couple hundred words down, that's perfectly fine by me. I'm fine with a longer time span. I know it'll take me longer to write my next book because I don't have as much time. That's perfectly fine by me. And this was a mentality that I already developed in college. I've just had to adapt it and extend it. For those of you still in school, I highly suggest tapping in and do your creative work first. before any homework, before any studying. That is what I would suggest, because you're going to feel more energy to do the homework, to do the studying, to get it done, because you know that you accomplished something for yourself that day. Not just something for school. You accomplished something for yourself. That is definitely my secret there. Yeah, and if there's anything else I would say about getting creative projects done, honestly, the last point that I would make is that it's very important to keep a balance, and I don't sacrifice on social activities, hanging out with people, going to parties, doing all this fun stuff. I don't sacrifice on that to get some creative work done. I figure if a party or a social activity or just a call, somebody calls me, someone calls me and they want to talk, I'm like, hey, look at all this other time I had during the day earlier to do some writing that I didn't use. And I use that as motivation to not waste time in the future. Because I'm like, I'm not going to be a hermit. I'm not going to sacrifice on talking to people. And nor do you have to. That idea is overly romanticized. You don't have to sacrifice time talking to people to get some writing done. Sacrifice time from, YouTube and Netflix and all of that, watching TV. You can do that afterward. But I would not sacrifice on social time, because I think that just sucks, and you don't need to, and I don't expect that of myself. So yeah, best of luck to anyone who is a writer, or maybe you play an instrument, or whatever you do, you see this video. And I know it's hard to balance things with a 9-to-5 job, but best of luck to anyone who does that. And I'm going to continue forging ahead, doing my creative work. I really feel like I've figured out a process now, so I'm just going to steadily churn out work. It's going to be exciting to see. All right, that's all. Have a good day, everyone.